Jason Statham saves a German shepherd from an abusive owner. What he did next will shock you. A day that started like any other, it was a typical sunny afternoon in Los Angeles. The streets were buzzing with life, from honking cars to people chatting at outdoor cafes. Jason Statham, Hollywood's iconic action star, was driving through the quieter outskirts of the city in his sleek black Aston Martin. The windows were rolled down, and the warm breeze tousled his short hair as he enjoyed a rare day off from shooting his latest action thriller. Despite his tough on-screen persona, Jason wasn't always in the mood for adrenaline-pumping activities. Sometimes he enjoyed simple pleasures, like a peaceful drive, a workout at his favorite gym, or a quiet walk along the beach. But fate had other plans that day, and what started as an ordinary afternoon would soon turn into something unforgettable. As Jason cruised down a narrow tree-lined street, something caught his attention. On the sidewalk up ahead, a man was tugging violently at the leash of a large German shepherd. The dog yelped in pain, its head jerking back with every aggressive pull. Jason frowned, his sharp instincts kicking in. He slowed the car and pulled over, his eyes fixed on the disturbing scene unfolding before him. The first encounter, a disturbing sight. Jason stepped out of his car, his boots hitting the pavement with a quiet thud. The street was otherwise empty, and the only sounds were the distant chirping of birds and the man's angry voice as he shouted at the dog. The German shepherd, a majestic creature with thick, golden brown fur, was cowering on the ground, its ears flattened and its tail tucked between its legs. The man, who looked disheveled and mean-spirited, yanked the leash again and kicked the dog in the side. "Move it, you stupid mutt," he snarled. Jason's jaw tightened. He had seen a lot in his life. Dangerous criminals, high-stakes stunts, and life-or-death situations. But there was something about the sight of that helpless dog being abused that made his blood boil. Without thinking twice, Jason began walking toward the man and the dog. His strides were purposeful, his expression a mask of cold determination. The confrontation, Jason's steps, and as Jason approached, the man finally noticed him. He stopped yanking on the leash and straightened up, eyeing Jason warily. For a brief moment, he seemed unsure of what to do. After all, it wasn't every day that you found yourself face to face with one of Hollywood's most recognizable action stars. "Jason Statham?" the man said, his voice a mix of surprise and suspicion. Jason didn't respond right away. His eyes were locked on the German shepherd, who was still lying on the ground, trembling. Slowly, Jason knelt down and extended a hand toward the dog. "Hey, buddy," he said softly. "It's okay. You're safe now." The dog sniffed his hand cautiously, its big brown eyes filled with fear and confusion. Jason gently scratched behind its ears, and the dog let out a quiet whine, as if it understood that Jason was there to help. "What do you think you're doing?" the man demanded, taking a step closer. Jason stood up slowly, towering over the man. His expression was calm, but there was an unmistakable edge to his voice when he spoke. "I could ask you the same thing," he said. "Why are you hurting this dog?" The man sneered. "It's my dog. I can do whatever I want." Jason took a step closer, his eyes narrowing. "Not while I'm here. You can't." A dangerous gamble. Jason takes action. The man's bravado faltered under Jason's intense gaze, but he wasn't ready to back down just yet. "Mind your own business, tough guy," he snapped. "This doesn't concern you." Jason tilted his head slightly, a dangerous glint in his eye. Hurting an innocent animal concerns me. Now, let go of the leash. When the man refused, Jason moved with the lightning-fast reflexes that had made him famous. In one swift motion, he grabbed the man's wrist and twisted it, forcing him to drop the leash. The man yelped in pain and stumbled backward. "Get out of here," Jason said, his voice low and deadly. "And don't ever let me catch you hurting an animal again." The man glared at Jason but knew he was outmatched. Muttering curses under his breath, he turned and walked away, disappearing around the corner. A new friend. Jason and the German Shepherd. With the man gone, Jason turned his attention back to the German Shepherd. The dog was still lying on the ground, but it no longer looked quite as frightened. Jason knelt down again and gently patted its head. "You're okay now," he said. "No one's gonna hurt you anymore." The dog licked his hand, its tail wagging tentatively. Jason smiled. "Come on, let's get you checked out," he said. He carefully lifted the dog into his arms and carried it to his car. A visit to the vet. Checking for injuries. Jason drove straight to a nearby animal clinic, where the vet examined the German Shepherd and treated its minor injuries. Thankfully, the dog's wounds weren't serious. Just a few cuts and bruises that would heal with time. While they waited for the vet to finish, Jason learned that the dog didn't have a microchip, which meant it was likely abandoned or neglected for a long time. No wonder he was so scared, Jason thought, feeling a surge of anger at the thought of anyone mistreating such a beautiful and intelligent animal. A life-changing decision. Jason adopts the dog. After the vet visit, Jason made a decision that would change both his life and the dog's life forever. "I'm taking him home," he told the vet. And just like that, the German Shepherd had a new home, with a man who would love and protect him for the rest of his life. A new beginning. Training and trust. Jason named the dog Max, and it didn't take long for them to form an unbreakable bond. Max quickly adapted to his new life, and Jason began training him in basic commands and protection techniques. To Jason's surprise, Max turned out to be a natural. He was smart, strong, and incredibly loyal. It was as if he knew that Jason had saved him and wanted to repay him by being the best companion he could be. A viral story, inspiring millions. Word of Jason's heroic rescue soon spread, and the story went viral. Fans from around the world were touched by his compassion and bravery, and social media was flooded with messages praising him for standing up against animal cruelty. But Jason wasn't interested in the attention. For him, the real reward was seeing Max happy, healthy, and free from fear. A powerful message, standing up for what's right. Jason's story is a reminder that heroes don't just exist in movies. Sometimes they're ordinary people who choose to do the right thing, even when it's risky or inconvenient. And sometimes they're action stars who step off the screen and into real life to save a life, change a destiny, and show the world what true courage looks like. Because in the end, being a hero isn't about fame or fortune. It's about compassion, kindness, and standing up for those who can't stand up for themselves. And that's exactly what Jason Statham did.